Meta reportedly plans to launch virtual currency and social tokens. This sounds pretty huge. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so Meta, formerly Facebook, Meta's now the parent company of Facebook. I think they've had several crypto projects, but at least they've had one which they sold the technological assets of earlier this year for about $200 million to Silvergate Capital. But now it's saying that they're exploring the creation of a new virtual currency nicknamed internally as Zuck Bucks. So early reports suggest the virtual tokens won't be based on the blockchain, but instead be used within its own ecosystem as an in-app token similar to V-Bucks or Fortnite. This could also mean that it's on what's called a side chain. Mm-hmm. So I'll pause right here in the article for people who don't know this. A side chain is something that's it's mimicking the technology of the blockchain, but it's not totally public.
Right.
Like on Rally.io, mm-hmm. It's two different components. Rally, ticker symbol RLY, that is part of that is a ERC20 token. That's an Ethereum-based token. But when you go on Rally.io, those transactions you see are actually on a side chain. So they're pegged to Rally, but it's not on the same exact blockchain. It's on a side chain of it. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty much, it's just, you still see all the transactions on there. It's just you don't see which wallet owns the transactions.
Right.
That's the biggest difference, to be honest with you. Like you'll see somebody bought this much, that much, they sold this much, that much. Mm-hmm. They paid for a product or service in this much or that much, but you don't see the wallet address behind it on the side chain.
Right.
Biggest difference. Mm-hmm. But what this one is saying, it could be a side chain, but I believe they would have a lot of work to do on this. But like we said before with other ideas, if you see more than one person doing it, in this instance, more than one person with a lot of money behind them who's doing it, mm-hmm. This idea is going to happen eventually. It seems sooner than later. So the article goes on to say creator coins have also been mentioned, which may be used in the future to help creators monetize their activity on Instagram and other platforms. Rally's already doing this. There's somebody at Facebook, obviously, who knows about this concept, these social tokens. It's kind of like this experimentation field right now.
Right.
That people are looking to see what Facebook does. We know their model now. They just take the idea of smaller companies at this point, right, and then render them obsolete. Mm-hmm. Either that or they just buy them. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So it's going to happen. It's going to happen somewhere.
Yeah.
It's just now a matter of, where.
Yeah.
I would say this one of all of them, this is not just like a feature of like Reels.
Yeah.
Where, TikTok has their video format and then Instagram can kind of just rip that. It's not like stories where they can just rip that. Right. This one takes a little bit more.
Yeah.
This is an infrastructure you have to build. Now, obviously, Facebook has the money to just pay people to build, the blockchain technology and side chains and all that. The problem is they haven't had success in the past with this. Their lane, this is not their lane. Mm-hmm. They're trying to rebrand, but this is still not their lane.
Right.
Rally, their biggest flaw, and social tokens at large right now, their biggest flaw is just the technology. Number one, doing a lot of testing right now. That's why I think it's moving slower than it should be, in my opinion. And then marketing behind it.
Right.
NFTs existed for, it was like a couple of years before they got a big news push.
100%.
So there's some bit of, obviously, the media is controlled. Mm-hmm. And if you think that is a conspiracy theory at this point, I have some land to sell you in a nice location. Like clearly the media's controlled and they're told what to say.
Yeah.
So as soon as somebody who has a stake in social tokens wants to tell them, hey, it's time to start talking about this a lot.
Right.
I think until then, they're going to keep building it to the point where it's ready to scale.
Right.
'Cause right now, they're working out a lot of the kinks in the system, and pretty sure an executive or one of the legal executives from Meta came over to Rally recently, which we talked about. I'm pretty sure, if not on this channel, on the Omari channel. So pay attention to the moves in the space. I would say if you're doing nothing right now, at the very least, go get your free tokens at socialtokennews.io. If you don't want to put 10% of your check, 5% or whatever, just go to our video for the top 10 social tokens and put a little bit of money in those. Obviously, we're not giving financial advice because we're not financial advisors. Right. But I would put some money in those because this is still a volatile space. You're dealing with microeconomies in this. You're going to deal with microeconomies anywhere. For Facebook, whether they launch creator coins there or social tokens there. This is all dependent on what that individual creator does with their economy. The creativity is behind them. They will decide, all the use cases for it. It's just who's going to provide them the easiest route for their fans to engage in the economy. So we know very clearly Facebook is borrowing ideas from Rally. They're trying to get a feel for this space, this next big move. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know exactly when. But I would just advise people get positioned for when it does happen. And, you should be good.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely.